Who's there? Rain. Rain. I'm grounding.
I think you just got just a little bit of it.
We're in the bathtub.
We're in the bathtub.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Knock, knock. Who's there? We're in the bathtub.
This is the How She Moms podcast with Whitney Archibald. I'm a mother of 5 on a mission to help moms connect with your kids, manage your homes, and create your own unique version of motherhood. I curate ideas from different moms so you can pick and choose what works for you and your family. Before we get started, I'd like to thank BetterHelp for sponsoring this episode. BetterHelp is therapy that feels like it was designed for busy moms. There are a lot of things that stand in the way of moms taking care of ourselves and getting the therapy we often need. Scheduling an appointment, arranging a babysitter, even finding the time to drive to an office building. With BetterHelp, all those obstacles disappear. It's professional therapy done securely online. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating within 48 hours. It's not a crisis line, it's not self-help, it's professional therapy. The service is available for clients worldwide, no matter where you live, so even if you don't have a lot of local resources, you get access to over 20,000 experts. BetterHelp is committed to finding the right therapeutic match for you, and it's easy and free to change therapists if not. You can also log into your account anytime and send a message to your therapist. You'll get a timely and thoughtful response, plus you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions so you don't have to find that babysitter. You can even schedule it during nap time. Plus, BetterHelp is more affordable than traditional offline therapy and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. Visit BetterHelp.com, that's BetterHelp, and join the over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. There's a special offer for How She Mom listeners. You can get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/HowSheMoms. In last week's episode, How She Manages Family Photos, we talked about why it's important to take family pictures and videos and how to organize them and back them up. This week, we're going to talk about what comes next, how we use those photos and videos to tell our family's stories. This may sound like a lot of work, but it doesn't have to be, especially if we've already got our photos digitized and organized. It's really easier than it's ever been to access family memories. Take that clip I shared in the intro. Back in 1987, after my brother did his stand-up routine, I would have had to pop that VHS tape into our VCR, fast forward or rewind through a lot of school programs and t-ball games until I got to that clip, then invite each of you over to my house to show that clip to you. But last week, when I dug up that clip, I just grabbed a hard drive my dad gave me with all of our digitized photos and videos, searched for Knock Knock, and bam, dragged it to my audio app. It took 5 minutes. And it was fun. My kids thought it was hilarious, and it led us down the road of watching and rewatching more funny videos from my childhood. They asked questions about them, made fun of me and my siblings a bit, and we connected. The magic of memory lane. So let's talk about some of the ways we can use photos and videos to tell our family story. Some of the ideas from the moms I talked to are simple. Others are more involved, and you may just want to tuck them away for later when you have more time. And some of those may speak to you, and you won't be able to wait to get started. We'll start by talking about videos, since we already kind of did. This is a project I've been wanting to tackle this year. My siblings and I used to watch our VHS family movies all the time, but the videos of my kids were buried in a billion photos, and we rarely watched them together unless one of them stumbled upon a funny one on my phone and called everyone over to watch. Then I interviewed Casey Von Stein, aka Miss Freddie, a professional photo organizer, and she gave me such a simple solution.
I take all the clips from my phone, the video clips from my phone, and pull them into iMovie and save it as one file. I started it because I thought it would remind me of like how our home videos were when we were little, where we would like put in a VHS tape and watch it for 2 hours. And now we don't have that because we have little 10-second, 30-second videos. So I don't do anything special. I don't edit it. I don't add music. I don't add text. I just take all the clips, save them as like an hour-and-a-half file. And then my kids can watch them through YouTube on our TV. And it keeps their attention because they can just watch it consecutively instead of on my phone where they have to flip through one by one.
She does this at the end of each year. So after our conversation, I went into iPhoto, which is the photo organizing system we use because we've gone the Apple route. I looked at the organizational toolbar on the side and noticed something I'd never noticed before. Under Albums, there is already an automatic album for video. I could just click on that and see all my videos. I took about 20 minutes and selected videos from 1 year at a time, created new albums for each year, and bam, I had annual reels. I didn't even have to take that extra step to make an iMovie for each year because we use Apple TVs and the videos already appear in the photo app. Now we can just click on those albums on any of our TVs to watch family videos anytime we want. I still need to convert some old DVDs and mini DVs to a more accessible digital format, but this was a great start. And I'm sure the other apps like Google Photos and Amazon Photos have an equivalent. Since that was so easy, I thought I'd also try the iMovie method that Miss Freddie uses. Since I already had the hard drive my dad gave me with all my childhood photos and videos, I decided to make a quick Singly Funniest Home video reel. Singly's my maiden name. And I went through the files quickly since my dad not only labeled them by date, but also keywords. And I found some of our old favorites, including the video for that opening Dwayne the Bathtub clip. I saved them in their own file, imported them into iMovie, made a few cuts here and there, exported it, saved it to my YouTube channel, and voila, a 4-minute reel that my kids and my nieces and nephews, and now you if you want to, can watch for a good laugh. I'll put that reel on Instagram and Facebook this week too, although I don't know if you'll find them as funny as we do. Another thing Miss Freddie does is make vacation videos.
Every vacation, I make a custom video in iMovie using the video footage from the trip. It's just a short, usually like a 3-minute video, but set to music and really fun. So that would be after every vacation, which a couple times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids love them to the point that when we leave for a vacation, they are asking me ahead of time, "You're making a video, right? You're gonna make a video." And then we get home and they're like, "Where's the video?" I'm like, "I haven't even brought the suitcases in the house yet. Let me do that before I make this video." So there's no chance for me to like say I'm not going to make a video. Like my kids are on it. I have to do it right away. So I love that they love it. And it's a fun way to document a trip.
Such a fun way to keep the memories of those vacations fresh. When my kids were little, I started a video project that I fully intended to continue. I interviewed each of them on or around New Year's Day. They were funny and adorable, and it would have been really cool to have one interview for every year of their childhood, as I intended, instead of just here and there, which is what ended up happening. And actually, I know how cool it would be because my sisters took my idea and followed through, and they have interviews from every year. But here's the thing. I still have the handful of years that I did, and that's way better than if I hadn't started in the first place. I think part of what made my sisters more successful is that they both do it on their kids' birthdays, which I think is a much better idea because it's just one kid at a time. I think that's partly why I stopped, because it seemed like I had to set aside a big chunk of time every year to interview them all at once. Another way my sister Haley made it simple is by using a standard set of questions each year so she doesn't have to think of questions every time. Every year she asks them, "What's your full name? How old are you? What grade are you in? And who's your teacher? What's your favorite food? Who's your best friend? What do you like to do in your spare time? What do you want to be when you grow up? Can you tell a joke? If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? If you could be any animal, what would you be? What are you afraid of? Do you believe in God? Why? What is the most amazing thing about you? What would you do if you won the lottery? And what is your favorite song? Will you sing it for me?" If you'd like to use this list of questions or use it as a jumping off point for your own list, you don't have to frantically take notes. You can find the transcript on the page for this episode at howshemoms.com. One of the most adorable clips from Haley's interviews that she's captured is one of her son Eli, who you also heard from in episode 72, How She Cultivates Kids' Talents. Here's the clip.
What would you do if you won the lottery? That's a lot of money. What would you do if you had a lot of money?
To go on the Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
A lot of money to go on the Ferris wheel. Oh my gosh.
That would be so fun.
If I pay for a lot of money, then I can go on the Ferris wheel.
It's even better with a video, of course, which I'll post on my YouTube channel, which is just How She Moms, and on Instagram and Facebook this week. In last week's episode, we talked a little bit about taking photos of everyday moments. This definitely applies to videos too. One of the reasons those interview videos are so precious is that it captures their little voices at different ages. But you don't have to undertake a formal project for this. I recently saw the cutest clip from the wonderful Cheryl Ellsworth on Instagram. Cheryl is a mom of 2 adorable kids and is really good at recording memories of them. She gave me permission to share this sweet clip.
Okay, I don't want to forget your voice. So, I'm going to say a word and then you're going to repeat after me, okay?
Okay.
Say open it.
Open it.
Say come on, man.
Come on, man.
Say skeleton.
Heckin.
Say Hamilton.
Heckin.
How old are you?
OV.
You're 3?
Uh-huh.
You're 2, silly. Say Mimi.
Mimi.
Say mommy.
Mommy.
Say daddy.
Daddy.
Say Appy.
Effie.
Say I love you.
I love you.
I love you too.
It's so simple, took very little time, but they'll treasure that little video of his sweet 2-year-old voice. It's especially fun to catch little mispronunciations like this one from my sister Haley's daughter Beth.
Say spaghetti. Spaghetti. Say spaghetti. Daddy.
This year, Jenny Stein, a mom of 5, a photographer, and host of the podcast The Family Photographer, committed to a video project where she uploads a second of video a day to the appropriately named app, 1 second every day.
I like limitations. I think limitations are good. Like, so I can't add more than 1 video for each day. And 1.5 seconds is the longest. 1.5 seconds is the longest I can do. So I just take little videos every day, and then you just go into the app and there's a grid and you just push that day, and then you'll see what videos you took, and then you just pick your time, that 1.5 seconds. And at the beginning, I was taking really short videos, maybe only 2 seconds. Now I take a much longer video and then just pick the time.
Okay.
So I'm learning about video. I'm learning about what I like in videos.
And what are some of the things you've learned? What are you looking for in those 1.5 seconds?
I love seeing the activities that we're doing, where at the beginning of the year we're sledding and they're shoveling snow. And then there's this whole big period where we're just at the pool. And it was okay with me that there's another one of that. They're basically the same sometimes. Like there's Atticus diving into the pool. There's a different kid diving into the pool. I love them laughing. You can hear them laughing in it, so I've just been really, the kids all love watching it. My 4-year-old loves watching it. You can put in that you want to watch the whole year. Sometimes I just, at the end of the month, I'll just send friends that I'm doing, that know that I'm doing it, that I like, I'll just send them that month. Like, this is September. I can go on and on about the wonders of a daily photo project that has nothing to do with the product. It's all process. Like, you can see something about your life by just pausing and taking a photo of it or taking a little video. So when I look back on these videos, sometimes it just gives me the sense like, oh, it wasn't all hard that month. Like, when I think of that month, I think, that was a hard month. Then I look at the video and I'm thinking, well, it was hard and it was funny and it was this. Like, it gives me a perspective. It's interesting to talk about this because it helps me realize that for me, photography is so much more about what it's helping me experience that day than it is about what my kids end up looking at sometimes.
Yeah.
I had one photographer on my show that said, Nikki Boone, who's a wonderful photographer, she does all this amazing black and white photography. She's in New Zealand. And she just said, she's like, if we're honest, the pictures are for us. Like, past a couple of pictures, it's for us, And so I think owning how much of it we do for us is good, and just to go, I love taking these. But I guess maybe for me, I'm saying it's for me. That's not true for everybody. But do think about why you're doing it. I think awareness around why you're picking up your camera, your phone, whatever you're picking up is really important and good.
One family that took family videos to the next level is the Slade family. They'd never sent family Christmas cards and were considering doing one in 2011 when they came up with a much bigger idea, making a Christmas video instead. They came up with a really fun idea for the video, to film an underwater Christmas morning scene in their neighbor's pool, decorations, Christmas jammies, and all, to the tune of Blue Christmas. That video did so well that they decided to use it to raise money for the nonprofit organization Charity Water, and a tradition was born. By the time they made their 10th and last Christmas video in 2020, they were raising around $10,000 a year for Charity Water. They also have this treasure of 10 amazing family videos. You got to check them out on YouTube, especially since we're approaching Christmas time. I'll include the link in my notes and on the episode page at howshemoms.com, or you can just go to Micah Slade's YouTube channel. You can hear more of their story, including how they built and gave away a tiny house one Christmas, on episode 23, How She Serves Her Community and Beyond. Okay, so now let's jump to photos. In the olden days, of course, photos were either in a box somewhere or in albums that you could hold in your hands and look through. Now they're more often in digital form. So you basically have two options for making them accessible to your children: keeping them in digital form, or taking another step or two to get them into some kind of print form. We'll talk about digital accessibility first, and then talk about different ways to put them in print form, focusing mostly on different types of photo books. One of the easiest ways to make sure those favorite photos get seen, and my family's most successful and consistent method, is to buy a digital frame. Ours was my husband's gift to me last Christmas, and it's a gift that keeps on giving because he also keeps it updated for us. It scrolls through thousands of pictures and sits right on our kitchen counter, so we're constantly looking at and laughing at family photos and even little video clips. I love it so much. The other thing we do is that after we watch a movie together as a family, we'll just go to our photo app on our Apple TV and watch either one of those reels that they automatically put together for you, or open an album of our own. We usually just spend a few minutes doing this after the movie's over, but we've rediscovered many hidden gems that way, and occasionally we've fallen off the couches laughing. My kids even just like scrolling through photos on my phone once in a while. But that can get annoying. Of course, there are many other digital platforms you can use to upload your photos, like Google Photos, Amazon Photos, and photo sharing sites like Flickr. And there are other social sites like Instagram and Facebook where you can post and collect your favorite photos. Or, of course, you can publish a blog which has words and pictures for your family. That's what my friend Cami Coburn does, who we talked about in the last episode and who will be featured in next week's episode as well. Whatever you do, if you're going to rely on digital form, figure out a go-to, easy way for your kids to look at them as well as you can. Next, let's talk about printed photos. It's also pretty easy these days to print your photos, although maybe we don't think about it as much as we did in the film days. Most of us don't have a nice photo printer at home, but all you have to do is upload the photos you want to print to a local store like Costco or Walgreens, or perhaps nicer professional sites if you're going to frame them and put them on the wall. But the fact that it's easy doesn't mean that we remember to do it. At least that's my case. So part of it's just making it a priority if you want your kids to be able to flip through a stack of photos or print nice ones for your wall. I'm not going to talk too much about ideas for displaying photos because it's more fun to look that up on Pinterest, where you can actually see how people lay out photo walls. It doesn't translate super well to the podcast format. But back to my sister Haley, one fun thing she does is frame photos of her kids in Halloween costumes each year, and then she brings them out as her Halloween decorations. I've also seen many cool examples of families that create ancestor walls with photos from their family history. There's so many fun ways to display photos in your home. Then, of course, there are photo books. You can always go old school and print photos and slip them into albums, but it's actually easier and way more interesting these days to make photo books online instead. Probably even cheaper, too. Before we talk about some of the creative types of photo books you can make, let's talk about how we can eliminate the barriers that are keeping you from making a photo book in the first place. Here's Jenny Stein again.
There's a lot of steps to doing it. Choosing the photos, uploading them to the service, deciding what size book you want, and do you want a hardback or soft, or what kind of, goes on and on. So there are a lot of steps, and just to know that there is a lot of steps in the process is good.
It can be overwhelming to think about all these steps, which is why many of us are stuck somewhere in the process. But a lot of those steps are decisions you can make once and then stick with them, starting with which photo book company you want to go with. I'm the perfect example of what not to do here. There are tons of photo book sites, and I've tried several of them, including Chatbooks, Snapfish, Mixbook, Shutterfly, and Apple. They were all pretty good and pretty easy to use, but I still had to figure out the new interface each time. Plus, if I ever want to reprint a book I've made, it will be really hard to track it down. And of course, your photo books will look much nicer lined up on your shelves too if they're all a uniform size and brand. I think at first I was just chasing whoever had the best deal at the time. But after working on this episode, I've realized that this is the next step I've been avoiding, finding a photo book home. So I'm committing to choosing one photo book site and sticking with it. My sister Cassie is committed to Chatbooks, as she shared in the last episode. She's a fantastic and faithful Instagram poster, and she has 40+ chatbooks made straight from Instagram automatically. As soon as she has enough posts to fill up a book, it just ships automatically to her house. Pretty amazing. And that's just what Vanessa Quigley, co-founder of Chatbooks, intended. The company got its start when she thought, I wish I could just print my Instagram. You can hear my interview with Vanessa on episode 73, How Vanessa Tells Her Family Story, to hear more about how and why she founded Chatbooks and how she organizes and uses her own family photos. So the next step is to figure out what kind of photo books you want to make, what format you want to use. There are so many options here. Let's start by finding out what Miss Freddie does.
So each kid has a baby book. That's their first year. And then every year since 2011, I think was my first year. So that was before I had kids. I've been making a family yearbook that has the best pictures from the year, and it has a little summary of each month. So there's some written journaling with it to kind of jog our memories. I keep them in the living room so they're accessible to the kids, and I catch them looking through it periodically, and it makes me so happy when they do, because they're a lot of work to make them all and print them all, and it's so nice to see the kids appreciating it. But they usually have a lot of questions like, what was this? What was that? And if you're someone who gets a ton of like creative energy and loves making books or scrapbooking, like great, you can make one for each kid, because that's something you're kind of doing for yourself. It's like fueling yourself. But for me, it feels like work. So I make the one a year, and I think that that's good enough. I did just write an ebook. It's called Managing Kids Memories, and it's all about like all the projects that I've done or plan to do for my kids. And I do plan to do an elementary school book at the end when they're moving from 8th grade onto high school. I'm going to do like a summary for each kid, so they'll have their own book for elementary school memories. And then I'm going to do one when they graduate to go to college, that I've been writing letters to them on their birthday every year, and I'm going to turn that into a book. Like when they leave the house, here you go. So I do have plans for special kids books, but that means each kid will have 3 total books: their baby book, their elementary school years book, and then this like life post high school book. And
That's cool.
3 feels manageable to me. 1 every year doesn't feel manageable to me.
Of course, I had to stop her right there and ask about these letters to her kids.
Yeah, it started because I had a blog for my photography business, and my cousin gave me onesies with the months on them. This was like before the stickers were a thing that lots of people use now, but she gave me custom onesies that had the month for all the sizes for their first year. And so I photographed, my son is my oldest. I photographed him in those onesies every month, and I turned it into a blog post because I needed content for my blog. And I just would like write a letter to him about the things he was interested in, and very short. These aren't like long, involved letters, but I would pair them with the pictures of his onesies for that first year. And then the year was over, and I thought, well, I really want to keep writing this letter. So I changed it instead of monthly to be once a year. And I take my kids out for around their birthday for portraits. That's pretty much the only time I pick up my DSLR camera now, is I'll take them out for a portrait session just with me and the kid, and do some nice pictures of them on their birthday. So I still write that blog post, and I pair those portraits with a letter, and it's still a short letter, but I imagine that by the time they get to be 18, when I combine them all, it will feel like a longer book instead of these short little like 2 or 3 paragraph letters. But yeah, I've kept up with it, and he's 8 and she's 7, and I've got professional photos or photos I took on my DSLR for every year, paired with a letter, and they haven't seen them yet, so it'll be a surprise.
Really? One thing I love about Miss Freddie's system is that she's made all those decisions. She knows what books she makes, how often, and what making them entails. And she's actually created a course about how to make family yearbooks, which you can purchase at missfreddie.com. She has a deal just for How She Mom listeners. You can get 20% off that course, her Backup Bootcamp course about backing up your photos, and her digital guides with the code HowSheMoms. Vanessa Quigley's system is to create family month books and then yearbooks for each child. I'll let her explain.
The best of the best get favorited. And then at the end of the month, I pick the 30 that represent that past month, and they go in my Chatbooks and my month book. I also have folders for each of the kids. And so I will also grab the ones that they're in and put them in their folder, because at the end of the year, I make them a yearbook, and it's really easy to just grab all of those photos that way. But I've seen other people do some really creative things in their kids' yearbooks. They, throughout the year, jot down cute things that they say, or text messages. Like sometimes like their spouse will share like, oh, this is what happened. They'll screenshot that. They put all of that in their yearbook as well, including pictures of artwork from school, or maybe like a paper that they got 100%, A+ and a sticker on. And I just think it's fun to like think outside of the box there. And then also think about what life is like from them, like in their eyes. What does their bedroom look like, and their closet look like, and their favorite outfit, and their friends. Sometimes I think as mothers and as parents, we're documenting from our point of view, but if you like try to put yourself in their shoes, like what's their favorite meal? Like those are the things that they're going to want to remember.
I myself have a hodgepodge of photo books, nothing very consistent. I have one traditional family yearbook from 2012 with fun quotes from the kids, summaries of fun events, and individual pages for each of the kids. I also have one called Jonas and Miles 2008 that just has pictures of my two oldest and no text. That was pretty quick to throw together. I also have 4 chat books from when I was consistently posting to a family Instagram account. Then I have a rhyming storybook I wrote for my husband's first Father's Day called Jonas Loves Daddy, with pictures of the two of them together. I'll read it so you get the idea. My name is Jonas and I love my dad. He's the best friend a guy ever had. He takes me fun places like mountains and beaches and reads me cool books about star-bellied sneeches. I run to his arms when he walks in the door. We play and I tackle him down to the floor. I look a lot like him right down to my toes. The Archibald ears, lips, chin, forehead, and nose. He teaches me mad skills like swimming and balance, and as I grow up, I'll learn more of his talents. He makes me feel better when I'm sad and weepy, and cuddles and hugs me when I'm feeling sleepy. I know that he loves me, though I'm just a lad. I hope when I'm big, I'll be just like my dad. Basically, Dr. Seuss. I've also made rhyming storybooks for my siblings called When Mommy Was a Little Girl and When Daddy Was a Little Boy. I'll post a video of one of those books next week on my YouTube channel in case anyone wants to copy my idea, which I always encourage. In case you hadn't guessed, the rhyming ones are my favorite to make. Jenny Stein also makes photo books for her family in a more haphazard way like me. I love her emphasis on just getting them done, not perfect.
Photo books are great. And the thing that gets in everybody's way is perfectionism. Just to make photo books that aren't perfect, I would say do that. Like make the photo books that I have made, the kids really do like. For me, it's a problem of too many photos and trying to figure out like which photos to use. I had to personally get over, as a mother of 5, making sure everything was like fair. That I have 7 photos of this one and 7, like forget it.
Well,
like,
especially when some of them are ducking out of the
right?
frame.
Like I'm not going to do that. And so I had to let that go and just be like, it's nice if there's a vacation or something. So all of the photos are from that thing. So that's the hardest thing for me, is choosing the photos. But then what you can then get caught up in is layout or something. And you can fuss around for days with that, weeks. I mean, and just don't like, notice where you're getting hung up and realize that the people who this is for aren't going to care. And sure, it's great if you can write captions for things, I guess, just to figure out what you can let go and have some minimum thing happen that you just see some they're not expensive. You can get photo books that are not expensive. So I have done that with some. I did pictures of my son's first year. So this is a while ago. And that was the one that I was really happy that I did. So our pictures from his birth to his first birthday party. And that gave me a focus.
Yeah.
It's helpful if I have a focus for a book of what I'm doing.
We already heard about Jenny's Video a Day project, but she's also done several photo a day projects as well, which could also be a really interesting way to organize a photo book. Jenny did her first photo a day project in 2010. Since then, she's done several more, sometimes with a group of other photographers where they post to the group and share comments, and sometimes just for her own use. One thing these projects have taught her is what kind of pictures she wants to take.
Well, the thing that has helped me the most that I talk about a lot on my own podcast is taking daily photos, because everybody gets used to it. Like, it's not an event anymore. Sometimes the way people use photography is just, oh, right, it's somebody's birthday, I'm getting the camera out. Oh, it's just, if you only take your camera out when it's an event, or you always ask the people you're taking, whether it's your child or your whatever, if you always ask them to look, if you always say, hey, smile, if you're always doing that, you're always going to get one kind of picture. So you can't, I don't like to sneak up on people, but I feel like they know I'm taking a picture, but I'm not telling them what to do. And then because I do it all the time, they know that it's not a big deal. So I would say the best way to get those photos is don't take a bunch you don't have to take 100 pictures every day. Just take a few. I have one photo that comes to mind right away, especially because we're at a different stage now, and it was 5 or 6 years ago, where I just talked to a photographer on my podcast who was talking about shooting wide, by which I mean having a lot in the photo. So he was talking about that. So I had a different lens on my camera, and I was like, oh, I looked at everybody making breakfast in the kitchen. And I took some pictures, and it's just funny. Like, one child's making pancakes, one's trying to put milk somewhere. And I just love that morning time, that busy sort of getting ready time, and just how chaotic the picture feels like there's a lot going on, and there was. So I like those moments that are really ordinary, like getting ready for school. Taking daily photos has taught me to take photos of those things, like getting ready for school, going to bed, doing the really, really ordinary things. So that's one that comes to mind, is that breakfast one. I think right when things locked down in March 2020, I have some pictures of a walk. It was such an amazing moment that all 5 kids would want to go on a walk together because there was nothing to do. And
I remember those days.
Right? So just getting just a picture of us walking in the park, all of us together.
Perhaps my favorite advice from Jenny, and the way we're going to end this episode, is to make sure you, the mom, get in the pictures too.
Don't worry about your double chin. Like, just forget about it. Because when you look down at your kid, or when your face is just going to look funny, and you just got to get over it. And that's the thing about doing self-portraits that's good, is if you do enough of them, you can get over the weirdness of, I was just talking about this to my 10-year-old, the idea of things that other people know more about you than you do. And the thing I said, other people know how you look much more than you do. Right. And so I was joking with her. I was like, everybody else knows what your butt looks like way more than you know. And so, but just your whole, like, you don't know what you look like from the side when you're looking down at your kid. And but it's sweet. And you don't need to worry that it looks a little funny. That's the biggest piece about getting in pictures with your kids is, again, we're back to perfectionism. And just know that you're the youngest you'll ever look. Be who you are, and just let yourself be in the pictures.
Thank you for listening to the How She Moms podcast. If you like it, tell a friend. The bigger the community, the more ideas. There are lots of ways you can add your ideas to the How She Moms community. We have a Facebook group where we share ideas about upcoming topics and help each other solve problems we're facing in motherhood. You can also follow How She Moms on Instagram for quick tips and ideas. And you can go to howshemoms.com, where you'll find transcripts of episodes and lots of other great resources. Special thanks to my mom, Susan Singley, for recording my theme music. She played this song all the time when I was growing up, and to me, it's the soundtrack of motherhood.